Good afternoon. It's Easter Sunday, and I wasn't going to do anything today, but I got a new book in the mail and I wanted to share it. I'm looking at an artifact through my magnifying glass. This artifact is of a thing I'm sure you're aware of. You know what it's called? It's a new artifact. I bought this when I went to Egypt on a school trip. I was a very, very lucky person. I went to go to Cairo and the pyramids and saw the Sphinx and have a photo taken by it. And this was one of the things I brought back from the souvenir stand. It's made of alabaster, and I've had it since 1973. Pilgrim School girls and boys, you can figure out when that was. I was in middle school at the time, back in Newmarket in Suffolk. So the story we're going to read today is by Roy Gerrard, and I read one of his called Sir Cedric. I hope you liked that one. And this one was one I'd forgotten about, and I found it on a used bookstore, and it's called CROCO'NILE. I also have a couple of other new artifacts to show you. This is a bobblehead of who? I know you know who that is too. That came from Las Vegas, from the Luxor Casino. Couldn't resist it. It's a bobblehead of King Tut. And then I also have this King Tut knockoff joke, which is also from Cow Parade. Tutankhamun, it was called. It's from that series of things called Cow Parade. I do love all things King Tut. I have a face mask of a puzzle of the face mask, which I like to do and actually did quite recently. So the story is called CROCO'NILE. It is, as I said, by Roy Gerrard, published in 1994, and this came from a used bookstore, and it had a life in 3 different libraries. You'll see when we go through the book, I'll point it out to you. It got discarded or weeded. I like to say retired now when I take things out of the library. And we will look at the inside flap. We'll take that off, but we're going to go back to that and read the inside flap. So here it is, CROCO'NILE. You can see here, I can show you there, the places it had a life at before. Allen Avenue Library, Martin School Library, and the John Woodcock Library, all in North Attleboro, Massachusetts, on the East Coast. I actually have a relative who lives there. Our title page, Roy Gerrard. So he does both the illustrations and the writing. And it's in rhyming couplets. Thank you for National Poetry Month. In ancient Egypt, long ago, beside the river Nile, a brother and a sister found a baby crocodile. They fed it lots of bread and dates, and as it grew and grew, it stayed the friend of Hamut and his sister Nekatu. Each morning when the girl and boy came down to have a swim, their trusty Croc was waiting for the fun they'd have with him. One day they climbed aboard a boat whose crew had gone to dine, and mischievously hid there in among the jars of wine. The naughty twosome stayed concealed until the break of day. By then their little village was 100 miles away. Although the crew weren't really cross, they wondered what to do. Returning was too risky, for the floods were overdue. And as the Nile would soon become a mass of waves and foam, the stowaways must quickly find a temporary home. Beautiful moonlight in the moonlight. The captain sailed them to a port where he could leave the pair with trusted friends who gladly took the children in their care. And they sent a relay message by runners who would tell their family who fretted that the two were safe and well. They helped the children feel at home by showing them the sights and pyramids that towered to unprecedented heights. In that picture you can see a pyramid and you can see a sphinx. Their guardian, who sculpted stone, taught Hammett with a will. He learned to fashion statues with the most astounding skill. And pretty soon, when Nekatu found she could paint and draw, Egyptians stood around her to admire and gasp in awe. The sculptor, keen to demonstrate the work these youngsters did, proposed that they should help him with the latest pyramid. Deep in subterranean chambers where sunlight never falls, they carved and painted wonders over all the passage walls. The king came by to see the work and almost had a fit. In all his royal life, he'd never seen the likes of it. He asked them both to fabricate his dear queen's birthday treat, a piece so rare and special it would make her day complete. The children, who were thrilled to be commissioned by the king, began at once to fashion an exquisite sort of thing. And when at last their work was done, they had a bath and dressed, and went to join the party at the palace with the rest. Now, when the monarch's birthday gift was given to the queen, she vowed it was the finest that her royal eyes had seen. And then the clever boy and girl were overcome with pride when ordered to be seated at the table by her side. It's the party. So if you can find them sitting at the Queen's table, just give you a second there. Then these two junior geniuses achieved enormous fame while managing to stay both shy and modest just the same. But fate held quite a shock in store, because, it's sad to say, some canny villains kidnapped them and carried them away. These ruffians knew very well that kings in foreign parts paid handsomely for slaves so deft and skilful in the arts. And though the children struggled hard, their efforts came to naught. The twosome were held captive on a boat that left the port. But once again, fate intervened because the floods arrived and sank the scoundrel's vessel. But the lucky pair survived, thanks to their pal, the crocodile, who'd always stayed around. He braved the floods and thereby saved his friends from being drowned. There he is. They clung like limpets to his sides until the floods had passed. Then on his back they clambered for the journey home at last. So pausing just to thank their friends, they travelled home in style, though not by boat or chariot, but by first class crocodile. Then brave Hamut and Nekatu came home to scenes of joy, and there were hugs and kisses for the long-lost girl and boy. and at the celebration feast the children praise their friend, the constant crocodile, who gave this tale a happy end. Down at the bottom you can see the copyright information over here that also has a recommendation for a book about hieroglyphics, which are featured. In the book, you see all the writing that they use is called hieroglyphics and hieroglyphs. Hieroglyphics is the language, and hidden within the pages of the book are some secret notes. If you're ever able to find this book, you can see if you can find it. But the book that's recommended by the author at the end, he says, to learn more about hieroglyphics, the author would like to suggest Catherine Rowrigg's Fun with Hieroglyphs. So when I finished reading the book that arrived yesterday, this book from 1994, I wondered if that book about hieroglyphs would still be available. And guess what? Yes! So excited it was. So I ordered it. Can't wait to get it. I think it comes with a little stamp set. So happy to wait and see that come in the mail. And in the meantime, I hope that you enjoyed CROCO'NILE. I'd forgotten how really great Roy Gerrard is at rhyming couplet stories and illustrating them. Just beautiful. And I wore my pith helmet today because it made me think about archaeologists digging up wonderful artifacts from Egypt and other such wonderful places. All right, I hope you enjoy the rest of your Easter Sunday. And I'm going to sign off with King Tut. King Tut is going to help me sign off today. He looks very stern.